Welcome to the Live Intentional podcast. Here we will explore stories, ideas, and questions from our life with the hope to ignite you to live according to your values and beliefs.
On this podcast, we will share our visions from our past, present, and future.
Our hope is by us sharing our story, we can inspire you to live more intentional and make you think about new ways to get creative in your relationships.
We hope you will follow us on this journey. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Intentional Living Podcast. Thanks for joining us again, and we hope that you enjoyed our episode last week. So this week's episode is about our honeymoon, which we're pretty excited to talk about. It's a fun story.
So before we talk about our honeymoon, let's talk a little bit about our wedding day. We got married on July 5th, 2019. I was in school at the time, so you had most of the planning to do on your own, unfortunately.
Yeah, you were finishing your last semester of college.
Yeah. So
You graduated May, right before our wedding.
2 months before our wedding. So I had some in the last say, and I got to go to, we met the DJ. I went to the food tasting. I had some saying the photographer, and you showed me a lot of everything, and I was on board.
all the venue tours when we were picking out our venue.
Yeah, that was easier because we did most of that on the weekend, which was nice.
Yeah.
But I think you did a good job. I think our wedding day it expressed our love. I mean, that was probably the best compliment I've gotten to date in my life. Is a lot of people said, you could feel the love at our wedding, and I think that's just an amazing compliment to get during a wedding or at your wedding in general.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping would shine through, because of course picking out the flowers and colors and everything was fun, and everything turned out perfectly. But I feel like that's the thing that you want to show the most, because that's what it's about. So
yeah, and you did an amazing job with it and everything. I could feel the love there, and I did cry a little bit before I walked out. It was, you don't think that you're gonna be nervous on your wedding day because you're meant to be there, it feels like, but right before you walk out, it kind of hits you, and it's like, wow, this is real, and all your friends and family are there to celebrate you guys, and it's pretty amazing day, and it goes by very quick. Yeah. And everyone always says it goes by quick, and it's not a lie. It just feels like, not that it's scheduled and you have, pictures and, now it's time to do the first dance and the cake cutting, but I would just say enjoy it, because it does go by quick, and, the only thing you have to live through is the pictures and the videos after that.
Yeah, that's one thing. If I could give anyone a tip, I do wish we did a videographer.
Yeah, I wish we did a video at least of the ceremony too.
Yeah.
I mean, we didn't have to do the video during the reception and the partying and all that, but I really wish that we did do a video of the ceremony, because sometimes I still want to go back and watch. Yeah, and the speeches. Yeah, that would have been nice. So after our wedding, what did we have? We had a day gap.
2 days. Yeah, we left 2 days later.
2 days after.
We got married on a Friday, and then we left. We were supposed to leave Sunday morning. Yeah. So she says supposed to, because this is where, I won't call it a nightmare, but I would say a mishap. Our first mishap rocky start
happened. So we were supposed to leave that morning, and unfortunately I set my alarm to PM and not AM. So my friend Tom was picking us up to go to the airport that morning, and he claims that he was out there beeping the horn and trying to get us up, and he did call us. I did have missed calls, but we just were probably so tired from our wedding day, and
and our phones are on vibrate, which you usually never have your phone
on vibrate either.
It just so happens
it was, and I did set my alarm for PM. So what did we wake up? Maybe an hour and a half before our flight that day?
No, it was a little bit more than that, because we made it to the airport with an hour until the flight was supposed to take off.
All I remember is because my neighbor had roosters and the sun was coming up, and I heard it, and I'm like, oh, what time is it? And I jumped out of bed. I woke up you, and you're like, I gotta shower first. I was like, there's no time to shower. We have to get there now.
Yeah, I was in a dead sleep, so I was trying to comprehend that we had to leave right that moment. I was like, oh, okay, oh, we have to go, okay, right, let me get in the shower really quick. And Simon was like, no, we have to leave right now or we're not going to make it. And I was like, oh, okay.
So I ran into my brother's room, and I was like, look, man, we got to get to the airport. My brother must have went 75, 80 down the highway to get us to the airport. We got there, and we must have been a few minutes late, because they
well, no. we tried to check in on our
Right.
phones, which there was just like a mishap with that. We won't get into it. But
Yeah.
the airline that we were taking, for their phone call system, they had a certain time that they opened up for them to actually like accept phone calls,
Right.
which they weren't open yet.
And we couldn't check in on our phone.
We couldn't check in on the phone because of that. And then by the time they opened, we were actually able to talk to them. They're like, "Oh, you just missed the last check-in time." So they were like, "Try to go to the front desk and still see." So they did like last call for our flight, went to the front desk, and we were like, "Oh, great, they just did last call. Like, let's go to the front. They'll take care of us." And we got there, and they were like, "Oh, sorry, the
It's
check-in
not like the
time
movies."
just closed." We're standing there in our honeymoon shirts.
Yeah, we had our
I
honeymoon
just start
shirts
crying.
on. Yeah, instant crying from you. And I was like, just walk away for a second. I'll see what we can do. It's not like the movies where, like, you could check in the last minute and sprint to your terminal, apparently. I guess they don't really do that in real life. But yeah, you instantly started crying and super upset. Like, the honeymoon was ruined. So I just told you to walk away for a second. I was going to deal with it. Unfortunately, we did not leave that day. We had to book a flight the next morning.
Which little do we know, until we looked at the flight that they booked us, we had a 12-hour layover.
Yeah.
So we missed out on 2 whole days.
Yeah, we missed out. We actually missed out on the whole first location, and we were going to Costa Rica. We missed out. We also had to book a hotel in the Philly airport, or at the Philly airport,
Yeah.
for that night.
A hotel in near the San Jose airport,
Yeah,
because we were
when
arriving
we
in the
got
middle
there.
of the night the next night.
Yeah, so we had to
And
basically
a new car rental.
Yeah, basically canceled that first location, had to book a hotel in the city that we were flying into in Costa Rica, San Jose. A new car rental we had to do.
Yeah, they only hold the car rentals for 12 hours, but we were arriving later than that, so they canceled the car rental, and we had to like book a whole new one, hoping that they still had cars available.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that both of our minds, like, obviously it's detrimental to both of us when, you're missing your honeymoon a little bit and you miss your flight. But I think, like, once we got to the hotel, once we relaxed a little bit, we were walking around playing like the Harry Potter phone game and trying to enjoy it as best we can. We tried to make the most of that. And then we got to Costa Rica that next day. Like you said, we had a 12-hour layover in
Fort
Lauderdale, Florida. Again, we just walked around, played the Harry Potter game.
That got a little boring. There's only so much you can do in an airport.
Well, we tried to sleep, and like you couldn't get comfortable in the chairs, and
we would go outside, get some fresh air, come back in.
We should have got like
really
an
good
Uber.
at taking naps.
Yeah, we should have got an Uber and just went somewhere for 12 hours or something. But yeah, we basically slept, got on the plane, got there. So we got there in the middle of the night, kind of. Had to wait for our car rental to be ready. Got the car. And in Costa Rica, they drive like these little, I think it was a Toyota. It was some sort of Toyota. It was super
just, like,
tiny.
Small SUVs.
Yeah. And like everyone has this SUV. It's like the same SUV that everyone owns. So then comes our second mishap on our drive to our first hotel. In Costa Rica, their signs are like numbers and not really words, and our GPSs weren't working. We didn't realize.
We should start with, this was both of our first times out of country.
Yes.
So we never did an international trip before. So, kind of naive, didn't realize that you have to turn on the roaming for your GPS to work. So I'm just like looking at the map, trying to figure out where we're supposed to go, rather than the GPS actually like, telling you the directions, how it normally does.
I think that we were just so tired and we wanted to get there and get to our hotel that we
and
just
it like started
didn't
off
take
stressful
a chance.
the beginning of it. So we were just kind of like, okay, let's get there, and then like we'll like get some rest. And then the next day starts. We were driving to different locations, so the next day did have to start out with us driving to like our first spot. So we were like, let's get some rest. Yeah, we were like, let's get some rest, but. In the meantime, just like getting all the luggage in, trying to figure out, never been there before, trying to figure out the roadways. Went down.
No, I went up
ramp.
I went up a down ramp, because here where we live, it's like usually the up ramps are on. It was weird. I don't know how.
No, we were like trying to get onto the highway from an off road, and you were going like it was just opposite direction.
Yeah,
it's
opposite
it was like
than
a
what
one
it is
way.
here in the States.
Yeah, it was just like a one way road. So cars were beeping at us.
Cars were beeping
like,
at
nicely,
me going
though,
up.
And I was just kind of like, oh, why are they beeping? We were like, oh my gosh, we're going on a one way and about to head onto the wrong side of the highway. So we like quickly turned around.
No
regrouped.
GPS. It was that is when it kind of hit me that like, oh my God, is this trip going to be a disaster? Like I was okay missing the flight, but like that was like the nail in the
Yeah,
coffin. Like,
we
oh my
did,
God, this
yeah.
is gonna be a hell of a trip.
We did like a lot of research, so we really did prepare for the trip. But then when like things like that start to happen, you kind of start to second guess. You're like, do we prepare enough for this? Was this a good
Yeah.
idea? Like, maybe this isn't going to work out the way we thought it would. Maybe
Yeah.
this is going to be a little more like
I think we
of a
prepared.
complicated trip than what we had planned.
Yeah, we prepared really well for that trip, and like, you know, like had a lot of notes and knew what to do. And
Yeah, we had like our trip to really planned out for like where we were going.
I feel like we even had plan Bs if something failed, but like those two failures, you're just something that you're not expecting to happen. And like once I went up that ramp or whatever, like I pulled over, I just started flipping out. I was over. That's when we kind of found out that we
Yeah.
needed to turn on roaming.
Yeah, I like started like really going through my phone. We were trying to find stuff, and then I was like, "Oh, okay. Oh, wait, this says like roaming. Maybe we should just like I don't know. We should give it a try. Maybe I
Yeah.
feel like I remember someone saying you have to turn on roaming for it to work.
Mhm.
So we did that, and then we were like, "Okay, the GPS is working now. Let's put in the hotel we're supposed to be arriving at."
Luckily, we got to that hotel, and it was the middle of the night, and like you
And it ended
said,
up being like a really nice hotel
Yeah,
too.
it was. It was
a
really neat,
it was
too.
cool.
It
It
was
was like
like
kind of
a-
like open concept
Yeah.
hotel, like the way that the halls were.
it was
and it had, like, a
indoor
cute little
outdoor type
breakfast.
of feel.
Yeah.
It was interesting. Yeah, but like you said, we were only there for that night, so we slept, got our stuff back in the car.
Little wins. They had like free little slippers in the hotel room, which I was real excited
This one?
about. Yeah.
This one then? Yeah. Yeah. So that was in San Jose, which is like the main city in Costa Rica, which was really the only spot that really we were kind of nervous to be in.
Just like based off of things that
Yeah, that we
were
read, like-
researching. But it was more like just like petty theft, just watching your
yeah,
surroundings.
even though it's
More so of just arriving in the middle of the night because we were
night, not knowing where
unfamiliar.
we were.
trying to arrive there during the daytime, just
Mhm.
that way, like, you know, everything's easier to see in the daylight.
Yeah.
Your surroundings, kind of like getting your bearings about
to know
yourselves.
not know where
Even
we
like
are.
even for like things around me, I don't love driving at night just because things look so different to me
Yeah.
at night. I'm not like a great
You can
night
know
driver.
where you're going, and it's completely different.
Yeah. So to not know where you're going and to have it like, you know, also like lighting is very different there. So like not really street lights. So it was all for us to arrive in the middle of the
Yeah,
night and
everything
get
was
used to everything. We were like, okay, wait, there's no street lights. Like we have to really pay attention to where we're going. Like
Yeah.
we don't even know where we're going.
Luckily, the first spot was the city, and it kind of was lit up more
Yeah.
from the city lights. But yeah, and then we left there that next day to our first, which is really our second
Technically, yeah,
location,
yeah.
Playa Hermosa. Which the cool thing about that was that we had to drive the car onto the ferry and take the
Yeah.
ferry ride over.
Yeah. Yeah, it was definitely very so this is the first time San Jose, you know, kind of like city street, like paved roads, I'll say.
Yeah.
It was highway, paved roads. So we get to Playa Hermosa, you take the ferry over, which was really cool. We were doing a bioluminescent kayak tour, which we
Mhm.
were so excited for. We've never done that before, but from the location of that kayak tour to where our hotel was a bit of a
I
drive.
think it was another
I
2.5 hours
yeah.
or something. Yeah.
So we were like, oh, it doesn't really make sense for us to like leave this location. Like when you get to the ferry from there, it
Mhm.
wasn't very far.
Well, the ferry ride. So we got to the ferry, had to drive the car on. That ferry ride was probably about an hour and a half,
yeah,
right? And then you get to
the port.
the port, and it's just a small little port town. Nothing really there, so there wasn't much to do. There was a couple little shops and food.
Yeah, we just kind of like took in the scenery mainly.
Yeah, but we didn't drive to our hotel because it was about
Yeah,
2-hour drive.
it was about
and
2 hours, so it
we
didn't
were
make
right
sense.
where the bioluminescents were, so we
Yeah.
just decided to stay there and hang
Yeah.
out.
We were like essentially gonna, if we did that, we were essentially gonna like get to the hotel, have to like unpack our
and-
stuff, and then just turn right back around to go
Mhm.
to the kayak tour. So we were like, that's a little more stressful. Let's just like relax here.
Yeah,
So we did the kayak tour,
yeah. Well, why
but
don't you
also
kind of
didn't like know how to get to the hotel from there.
why
And
don't you explain like the bioluminescence, kind of what it is a little bit? Do you remember?
so it has to do with like the algae in the
Algae in
water,
the
and
water.
everything has to be almost like perfect circumstances for you to
Mhm.
be able to see the bioluminescence. I don't have like the exact. I like took photos of
forget
like
what
the
it was.
spreadsheet that they had, kind of explaining
we
everything.
could post them on the Instagram.
Yeah.
if we can find them. But it's essentially
It's really cool. It has
yeah.
to be like perfect water conditions. The temperature has
Mhm.
to be just right. So like essentially when you agitate the water, the algae itself glows with
Yes.
agitation. So like if like a fish swam through the section that this
it would just the trail would glow.
Yeah, the trail would glow. If you like, we had, you know, you like splash your hand in the water and like the water would just glow. It was like very cool. It was almost
Yeah.
like stars.
You
but
do it
in
at
the water.
night. So we went out it's, middle of the night and you're going out kayaking in these foreign waters, which was a little nervous, but we had a
with a
really good
group.
tour guide
Yeah.
in a group.
It was really fun. Everyone was very nice.
And he would take us into like darker areas and into bushes and stuff
We did,
like
a
that.
little cave section.
Yeah, a little cave section. The darker it was, the more, you splash your paddle at someone and it's like glowed up. It's like a firework kind of. It was really neat.
Yeah.
That was probably one of the coolest things that we did there. And then
it was really like you had to like be there to see it and experience it, because it's one of those things where like you see shooting stars but you can't capture it kind of thing. Like we tried to get some
we
videos.
tried on the GoPro on the cameras.
You
and
just really had to like be there to experience.
Couldn't capture it. It was hard.
It was awesome though.
And from there we had a little bit of a drive, I guess. Like we said, it was 2 hours to get to Playa Hermosa, where our first hotel was. Dark again, but this time. So Costa Rica has 4 ecosystems. It's known for having all 4 ecosystems, and most of it is woods and rainforest. So this one was kind of in the woods. I guess it was kind of a rainforest where this first location was. I would say it's more woodsy.
It was the beach we were at.
The beach is our first
location. But it was
location.
all like dirt roads.
All dirt roads the way up in the dark. So I don't think anything really happened getting there, but like when we got there,
this is where, so a lot of what we were reading was like, if you can avoid driving in the rain, to do so.
Well, that was when we got to the woods, though. I mean, like the 2-hour drive was good, but once we got to those woods is when it started thundering and lightning. We made it pretty close. I would say we were about 30 minutes out.
Felt like we were trying to beat the rain. So this is the section that was like very dark, didn't have any lit roads at all. So honestly, like what was
I don't even know if you could call them roads.
What was like showing us the way was the lightning when it would strike. Everything lit up and you're kind of like, oh, okay, I can like kind of see what's around us. I see like, further down the road than just what your lights are showing you.
Yeah.
And we literally pulled up to the hotel. It took us a minute to find it just because
it was in a back road, kind of like there was like 2 hotels on this street that we were on, and it was just tiny little sign, and like you said, it was lit by lightning. And we were just driving and trying to beat the rain. Wasn't that on the way where we saw like the albino cow too? Like the lightning struck, and there's like 3 or 4 albino cows to the side of me, and I'm like, what the heck is that? So like, but it was fun. I think that driving there taught me a lot. Like it really did. Like it made me more aware of my surroundings. Like because like you said, you're not supposed to drive in the rain because of mudslides, and you're on side of mountains, and they don't have concrete, and it's a lot of dirt roads and muddy roads. But getting to that location was it wasn't bad.
It wasn't bad. It was just our first experience with like
beating the
and like
rain.
Trying not to drive in the rain. We were just praying that the rain wasn't going to start coming down. So we literally pulled into the gated hotel, and as soon as we came through the gates, the
boom
rain just started pouring down.
And you might think that we're kidding about driving in the rain, but so it rains in Costa Rica probably every night that we were there. It rained at least once a day. It rained.
We actually really lucked out that like we had beautiful days, and when it was kind of time to like end our day and like either have dinner, hang out, it would downpour, and then it would clear up by the morning. So
I mean, we went into it knowing like, hey, let's start our day early, get back to the hotel before the rain, and we'll be good. And the cool thing about the Playa Hermosa hotel was like we had that hotel to ourselves.
We really didn't see like it was like a smaller.
It wasn't even a hotel. It was like little bungalows.
Small resort. We had like a bungalow. It was like a smaller resort. Had like a smaller pool, but no one was ever at the pool when we were at it, so it felt like a private pool, which was really cool.
It had a little deck for like a yoga area. And we had a little cat friend that visited us every day, and it was cool. Like the bathroom in there was like partially outside, like the top of the shower was like exposed, so like you were taking a shower at night and like you could see the rainstorm and the
like,
thunder and lightning.
Which like we know you're not supposed to shower in like thunder and lightning, but it was cool.
The one thing I do regret
maybe,
about Playa Hermosa is not going to that like locals bar. Remember we drove by and it was like this outdoor cool bar. I regret not going to that because we went to that same beach. It was like it was a surf town. In the morning, really cool. 5 a.m. everyone is packed in trucks with their surfboards going out.
Headed out for the day.
The one thing I do regret is not going to that bar because we went back to that restaurant for breakfast and dinner. And it was really good there.
She was like the same server. It was really cool because we like got to know her a little bit. Food was delicious. A lot of like locals went there. And would like stop by almost to like see her in the morning before they were like headed out. Like someone would stop by and have a conversation with her before they were like headed out for
everybody
their day.
is extremely friendly, and like in the towns, like it's like it's like a family community style. I feel like, and
Yeah.
everyone knew each other. But Playa Hermosa, we really didn't do much. We just chilled. We went to the beach. We
Yeah.
hung out in the pool.
We like kind of purposely planned it that way.
Yeah,
We like
to relax
wanted it to
in
start
the
relaxing
beginning.
just because of like weddings are so fun, but also like just stressful in the fact that you have a lot to do. Not stressful like bad, just
Yeah.
like a lot to do. You're busy,
Yeah,
so we
you're
kind of
busy,
wanted
and
to
then the day of the
decompress.
wedding.
Yeah.
So that was like the first location we wanted to kind of decompress and just hang out at the beach a little bit.
So from there in our like relaxation and beach time, we went to Monteverde, which was the rainforest. That was like our time to like do exploring, hiking. We did the suspended bridges.
Mhm. Yeah, it was. The trip opened up. Let's just say that. Now it was time to explore Costa Rica and kind of get more involved with the locals and explore the rainforest a little bit. And Monteverde, like you said, they had the suspension bridges. We did a few of the rainforest trails in that one location. It wasn't all the same, but every single one had suspension bridges. Do you remember
Yeah.
how tall some of them were? I forget.
No, I would. Well, you know
I wanna
what?
say
I
one of
took
them was
some.
like 4,000 feet above the rainforest, or like 1,000 something.
Yeah,
like
I
something
did take some
crazy.
photos of like the plaques because each
Yeah.
suspension bridge had a plaque that said what the height of it was.
Yeah.
Just amazing though. You were like literally over top of the trees.
You were
some
above
of
the
these. Like you were
rainforest.
literally above the rainforest,
And you could feel the wind on those bridges.
Yeah,
like,
they definitely had like some swaying, which obviously it's supposed to because just the way that what like physics is, it needs to have some
the
sort of like
engineering
give
of
to
it
the
has
bridge.
to
Yeah.
sway because of, I forget what they said, because of the rock. Like if not, it would be too sturdy or something. I forget.
Yeah, it can like basically like fall
Snap,
if
yeah.
it doesn't have. Yeah, so it has to have that. But when you're walking across it, it feels a little freaky at first. Steven had some moments.
Dude, I'm I'm not the best with heights, but I needed to do this because we were here in the moment and in the rainforest for the first time ever.
Yeah.
And like the first few bridges, like you have pictures and we have some videos of me walking like I just pooped my pants. Like I was clenched and like
I was trying to get some like GoPro shots and I was kind of like standing there and Steven was like, all right, like let's move along. Let's get to the other side of the bridge. And
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
it was interesting, but it was so cool. I mean, Monteverde, we saw the capybaras, which is
Yeah.
kind of like what would you compare it to here with the animal? Like kind of like it's probably about the size of a raccoon, but it's
Yeah.
not like a raccoon. Kind of like a raccoon and an anteater meet each other, I would say.
Oh, yeah, I guess so if you're trying to describe the
Yeah.
look.
I mean,
But-
we'll post some pictures on our Instagram throughout this week that we released this of our trip, so you guys can kind of see it. But we saw capybaras there. This is where we also saw a couple of the monkeys, the howlers and stuff,
Yeah, that
which
was
were really
cool.
cool. I have some pictures of that we can share.
Oh, we did the coffee tour.
The coffee tour was here, Monteverde Coffee Company, which was amazing.
Yeah.
That was a good story part of that. So people go to Costa Rica, obviously, all over the world. During the tour, they were giving out, samples of stuff throughout, because they also did cocoa. They had cocoa
They
beans,
did cacao beans,
They had
and they
banana plants.
yes,
coffee.
the banana plants.
So they were doing like
And the cane sugar.
the cane sugar. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was really cool too. So the cane sugar was like this stick, and you could chew on it, and it was like sugar water, which was really, really good. So there was a gentleman on our trip, and there were, like we were saying, there were banana trees, and this guy was just loving the free stuff. He was asking for doubles, triples, whatever he could get. And there were banana trees, and our tour guide was like, these ones are dead or whatever. So this man literally climbs up the banana tree and tears down the whole tree to get these bananas. The whole tree came coming down, and the tour guide was like, what he said something to me. Do you remember? Oh.
No, I don't remember what he said.
Oh,
honestly.
me neither,
But it
but
was more so just kind of like, oh, please, like, respect
The land, and,
like,
like, this
it
is our
like
family's.
family owned.
Oh my god, that he literally tore down a whole banana tree, like right in front of the whole tour guide, the group. So we got that. They also gave us like a shot of what was the drink? It was like a rum. It was like a clear rum or something that they make there. They did a shot
That
of
was
that.
based
That was
off
based
of
off the sugar cane, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I forget the name of it.
Me
I have
too.
to look it up.
They did that on the tour. Got to do like 100% cacao
Yeah.
eating, which was like super super strong.
That was really
the
cool. At
coffee
the
tour
end of
was-
it, they gave you. We like sat down and had lunch with everyone.
Oh, yeah.
And
home
coffee.
cooked.
Yeah,
coffee
it was
from
really
them.
nice.
Yeah.
Everyone really welcomes you in like your family, which was awesome.
Yeah, definitely.
Some other things we did there were we went into like the towns a lot. We ate at the sodas, which
Was that in Monteverde?
Yeah, yeah.
Because Monteverde had a little bit of a like touristy town, kind of in a way. A
Yeah,
little bit.
I don't know.
I
Yeah,
wouldn't-
I don't know if it's really a,
It was like an
not
uptown type of
touristy,
thing.
but like yeah.
Yeah, but the soda that we did was really cool. So the sodas are basically someone's house, and they welcome people in like a restaurant.
Yeah, like mom and pop shops.
And when we were doing our research, like they said, like the sodas, they always have the best food. It's like the cheap best food in Costa Rica, and definitely I think that was right. I think that was one of the best spots that we ate. Like, because most of the time we were eating at the hotel and stuff, or like restaurants that not restaurants, but like places that were more known, I guess. Not like this was like someone's house. Like they lived in there and they welcomed these people in, and the food was amazing.
Yeah, it was so good, and they were like literally they were so welcoming. And then they would like make a special like some sort of food. It seemed like they would make special that day. So the day we were there, it was a rice pudding that they made, and they would just come around to the tables and ask you if you wanted something, and just handed it out to everyone that was eating there. They're like, "Oh, this is what we made today. Do you want to try it?"
Yeah.
So
like,
it was really nice.
Not even that you had to order it. Like you ordered your food, but like they would come around with other stuff that, like you said, the rice pudding that was really
it was
really
delicious.
Good.
Yeah.
The hotel that we stayed at in Monteverde, this one was another bungalow. This is where we met the bartender.
Yeah, we met the bartender here. These were like technically like tree houses.
Yeah, they were like a tree house.
They were literally in the trees.
Do you remember the one morning we woke up and
awesome.
then giant birds on the balcony, and I didn't even want to go out of the they were huge.
Yeah.
They were like
this was actually it was like a 2-floor
or something. Yeah, it was a 2-floor like tree house.
Yeah, tree house.
And they left us like champagne and chocolate covered strawberries when we came. And then we met the bartender at the hotel bar, who was amazing. So every day he would like ask us what our plans were for the day. He would give us a little, inside scoop on where we should go, what we should do. But we ended up going back there to have drinks like every night afterward, just talking to him. And he would, the one night, I guess it was probably the first night when we started becoming friendly with him, I brushed up on my Spanish a little bit, and he was like pretty good with English, so like we were kind of going back and forth teaching each other. But he also gave us a chili guero shot, which you were in love with. They
were so good.
Yeah.
So it's almost, I feel like the closest thing you could explain it to is like a Bloody Mary, but it's not really.
Everything Bloody Mary.
Spicy,
but in a shot.
Sort of, yeah. But like very fresh. The way that he did it was like he would take the tomatoes
juice, it's like
and
crushed.
onions and like literally blend it up with like the alcohol in it.
Yeah,
they
and it's a known drink. Well, known shot, I guess, or drink. Because did you get a drink at it at the pool time place?
Yeah, so the last place we went to had like a pool bar, and that I got like it was more of like a drink. Yeah. They didn't do it as
known,
a shot.
like Costa Rica is known for this. Like anybody, and he told us like ask
everyone
for it everywhere you go.
Different.
Everyone makes it slightly different.
Yeah.
But I would say
that was definitely our favorite.
His was definitely because I don't like Bloody Marys or I don't like tomato juice, but like it was good.
They were so good.
It was like a good way to end your day, and like I felt like nice. It was good, and I don't really like that stuff. So if you do end up ever going to Costa Rica, ask your bartender for a chili guero, and they'll know what it is.
Yeah.
Monteverde. Anything else? Is that where we went out? We also went out to breakfast, and you wanted me to do the zip lining.
Oh, okay. So we were doing our hiking and suspension bridges.
Yeah, that was in like a kind of enclosed kind of park kind of area.
Yeah. It was like their national park is like what we had entered for that. So you could also do zip lining there. And we started our days off like pretty early, not realizing, what time it was.
When we were up at 4:30, 5 o'clock every day.
Yeah.
And then out.
So we went to breakfast. After we had already hiked at this point.
Yeah, we hiked.
Then we like went and got some food.
Lunch.
And we were like talking about doing the zip lining.
I was all for it in the beginning, and then the lady was like, "Oh, do you want to try?" She asked you if you wanted to try the hot chocolate.
I got like a spiked hot chocolate,
and then I was like, "Well, then I'll get a beer." And then I got another beer, and then
It was
we
like
were
2
done.
beers in, 2 spiked hot chocolates in, and at the end of that, he was like, "You know what? Never mind. I can't do it." And
Well, we
had
looked at the time, and it was like 11:30, 12, and we
not
were
even. It was 10 a.m.
no, it was like closer to 11.
No, it wasn't, because I texted my parents,
Oh,
and
we
I
had
was
to-
like, "It's still morning." Like, we thought it was noon at
Oh
least.
my god, yeah. So yeah, I guess the alcohol got the best of us, and I was not going up there. Like I said, I'm scared of heights, and
Yeah.
zip lining through the rainforest was not my cup of tea that day.
Yeah.
And
Almost got him to do it.
unfortunately, we never ended up doing it. But I will do it when we go back to Costa Rica.
Definitely. That's on our bucket list for the next time.
Yeah. So from Monteverde, we headed to our last place, which I guess now is our third, which was supposed to be our fourth.
Yep.
Areno, which was our volcano place.
Yeah.
Which we stayed at this was my favorite hotel, I think, out of all of them.
It was so hard for me to choose, honestly.
Yeah.
I liked them. They were all different.
Yeah.
All of the hotels had
All of
something
them had
different to
something
offer. They
unique
were
and
awesome.
sweet about.
Yeah.
Like, but Areno was cool.
Well, this hotel was the thermal springs.
Yeah, we had the hot springs. Basically, the hotel was down the street, and they had a bus that was their hot springs, which came from the Areno volcano. So the higher
Yeah.
up you go in these hot springs, the hotter the water gets. So it started out, just a normal pool that they had with a swim up bar, but then you could go into the hot spring area starting at the bottom. It wasn't too hot, but
Yeah, like
it was hot. It was like a hot tub here.
And it gave you the temperatures, like
of each
approximately
spring.
of what it was
Mhm.
going to be.
But as you went up, because we were hotel guests, we could get into Shangri-La, which was like the hotel VIP section.
And
They
it
had
was like
bungalows,
adults only, that section.
adults only with bars and bungalows and more hot springs, and it was probably the top, I would say,
That
the
it was,
warmest.
yeah.
So yeah, every day we would go out exploring. We would explore the volcanoes. We did quadding one day, which was really cool. That started in like the town and then around the volcano, and then we would come back and we would just enjoy the hot springs and have a drink at the swim up bar. You did try the chili guerra there. Wasn't as good as our dude from the other one, but it was good. And we kind of used this spot also to kind of relax a little bit. It was a little bit of mixture of like relaxation and also exploring, because we get to do the massages there, which was really cool.
That was nice. It was like outdoor. It was like an outdoor spa.
Yeah,
which was awesome.
At the
I had
hot
like
springs.
an outdoor like shower at the end of my massage.
Yeah, it was at the hot springs. We got
Yeah.
massages. Was it after our day? It was like in the middle of our day. I think that day we kind of just hung out there and did like more of the hot springs and explored the hotel a little bit. Oh, we also had a couple dinners there, and that's where I had steak that I cooked on a volcano rock, which was really cool.
Awesome.
It came out raw, and I would cook it how I wanted it on the volcano rock, and it was like steaming hot volcano rock, which was cool.
So this restaurant actually had multiple servers, but we just so happened to get the same server every time we went.
Yeah.
He was so nice.
Yeah.
Like really also, it was really nice there because he really helped us. Like he would bring us out like a nice like dessert to celebrate our honeymoon.
Yeah, like
since he knew
each
it was
night.
our honeymoon.
I think we ate there maybe 2 or 3 nights at that one, and he brought us free dessert like every night we ate there.
Yeah, it was just like a nice celebration.
Really nice.
This was like a good combo. We definitely did like exploring, but had really nice like the evenings. Every night we went to the thermal springs.
And even the Arenal volcano hikes and exploring that we did, like they weren't super long at this one.
Yeah,
like
or
you would hike
strenuous.
up something to get a good view of the volcano, or like we said, we went quadding to get a view of the volcano. So it was more like adventuring, and we went quadding and we got to this spot where we went swimming. Like they told us to wear bathing suits, remember? And we quadded out to like this lake area, and we get to the lake, and he was like, "Oh yeah, the people that we took out here yesterday saw crocodiles or alligators in the waters, and here we go going swimming."
Yeah, we were like, "Oh, is this safe?" And they're like, well, "There's been no sightings today."
Yeah, but instead of seeing crocodiles, there were more monkeys up in the trees while we were swimming, which was cool.
Oh, that's where we saw the waterfall. We swam under the waterfall, not super close because it was really aggressive.
The tide,
that
so they
day.
locked off some of the area near the waterfall because of the tides or whatever.
Yeah, it was really strong that
and
day.
it would pull you under. But that water was freezing. I have
so cold.
I have a part of a video where like you videoed me jumping into that water, and like I must have splashed the connects to me, and he's like, "Ee!"
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool though. There was like some fish in the water there.
Yeah, we were like swimming with these fish at that spot, which kind of made up for the first spot, because at the first spot we were supposed to do snorkeling and go out on a catamaran and do like
yeah, we were doing whale watching. We had like a catamaran dinner tour we were going to do during sunset. We were going to do some snorkeling. So yeah, definitely made up for that. We would definitely love to do that next time we go back. But like overall, it was an amazing trip. Like
it was.
our mishaps in the beginning did not ruin the trip at all. It was still
Don't
one of
even
our...
think about them
No,
anymore. Compared
no.
to everything that we did, everything that we saw, the people that we met, the food that we ate.
Yeah, like I almost forget about the mishaps in the beginning,
we recommend
honestly.
going to Costa Rica to so many people. If there's any thought in your mind that, oh, this place is dangerous, something might happen, it is a third world country, but it does not feel like that when you're there.
No, we
People
felt
are
very
so
safe.
welcoming. We felt so safe. Like, there's people walking on the streets with machetes, but that is their main tool. Like, that's what they use daily for lawns and
Yeah.
coconuts and things like
Yeah.
that. We felt safer there than I would say I felt at home, because people were just so nice and like welcoming to us.
Yeah, it's your normal, literally, as if you're visiting a city near us, just petty theft, like, just the normal stuff you have to be
I think the
careful
scariest
of.
part about Costa Rica was the driving.
Yeah.
Like, which I got used to, I would say, by the end, but not, because there's just so many things that, like we said, it can rain in an instant and you would have to pull over.
We honestly got, like, once we were there, we honestly got really lucky because we didn't have any crazy rainstorms during the day that we had to navigate driving in those,
Most of our rain came at night.
Yeah.
I think that it rained every single night, and we were pretty lucky. I think we did maybe one hike in Monteverde that we hiked in the rain a little bit. But the drive wasn't far, and it was more streets in Monteverde. There was a mixture of both, but I felt like it was more streets.
When you get up to that mountain, it was
not
like a
city,
dirt road.
but it was like more of a town driving through in Monteverde, which was a little bit better. I think that was the scariest part, was just driving there, and I got used to it. And I suggest, if you are gonna go, like, if you have the time, drive and go see it, because it is, every location in Costa Rica is different.
Yeah, they really did like a vast ecosystem, and it was really cool to see.
Yeah, so if you have the time, I would travel the country a little bit. Pick 2-3 spots. You don't have to go to where we went, because there's tons of things. And even because we were on the north, we were on the south side.
No, we were on the west.
We were on the west.
Yeah.
So on the opposite is where you would see like the turtles breach, like the baby turtles breach. So that's something that we want to go back and see. We definitely want to go back to the national park that we missed the first time and do the snorkeling and the catamaran stuff. So we will get back there one day. It's kind of like part of us now, I feel like.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those places that like leaves an imprint on you and is like a core memory. Somewhere like we would definitely love to go back to.
Definitely. So we got some questions written down for each other here, and I guess I'll start since we're on the Costa Rica topic. We won't go back to the wedding yet, but just talking about driving, how nervous were you as a passenger?
I got more relaxed as the trip went on.
Yeah.
Definitely like first spot headed to Playa Hermosa, when it was like the first time driving on those dirt roads. I was like gripping onto like, the
oh shit bar.
Yeah, I was definitely like holding onto that for dear life at one part, because we were like headed down a little hill, and there was just like craters in the middle of the road, so the car's like shaking back and forth.
Yeah.
So but I got more comfortable. I definitely, like, in the beginning was a nervous passenger, but I was your like navigation.
Yeah.
So
I think that
I was, like, trying
we
to
had to be on the
focus.
same page.
Yeah.
And the biggest challenge was the driving, and that's where, we had to buckle down and like, all right, no fun right now. This is time to go. Because I felt like I thought like that every time getting into the car, that like, all right, this is a go mode. We need to like get serious. Like, the fun was left there, and we need to make this drive if we're going to have more fun.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because even like they had like little bridges.
Yeah.
That
one-way bridges and stuff
someone
too.
had told us like a bus fell off the bridge like the previous
side
week.
of the mountain.
There was
driving
no
up.
guardrails on the bridges, and like one car would wait.
We were
for
driving
the one
through
going
like
the opposite
construction
direction,
zones, like because like dirt construction roads, it would go from like concrete to dirt right away. So then back to our wedding, and then what was the best part or your favorite part of our wedding?
For me, obviously, like all of our friends and family coming together, that was really awesome to experience that with everyone. But like specific favorite part, definitely our first dance for me. I feel like that was like the one part where I kind of like only felt
Blocked
like
out
it
the
was
noise.
like, it felt like it was really like just us during our first dance.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite part too. And we got married in a barn setting, but they opened up these barn doors, and we had a dance on the patio out there, and like everyone was at the barn doors, which made for amazing pictures. But like looking back at the pictures, like it was just me and you in that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like that was something that like maybe it was like noticeable to some people, because I do remember my mom afterwards saying like, oh, like you like like during that time I could tell you like felt like it was like just the two of you. So
Yeah.
like you were like
I think that
just
was one of the
focused on
only
the two
parts of our
you.
wedding where it felt like, you know, this was for us, and, you know, like it's just me and you now, you know.
Yeah.
So it was, I think our first dance was really cool.
Okay, so my question's for you. How did you overcome driving in Costa Rica?
I think just knowing that I had you in the car and that we wanted, like, before we went, you know, I watched videos on people driving to Monteverde because it's up a mountain, and I into the rainforest, and
Oh, that's right. We did watch
I watched
some videos.
Yeah, you didn't watch the whole thing because I didn't want to get too nervous, but like I
Yeah.
knew, I kind of prepped myself beforehand and knew that we wanted to explore this country and not just be stuck in one spot because of how much it had to offer. That after that mishap in the first city, going up the off ramp, and then the being lit by lightning, I just felt like, you know, like I can do this.
Yeah.
But it was still in my back of my mind. I may have not showed it there, and like my heart raced every time, you know, the road got super skinny that probably a car shouldn't have fit on, but we made it fit, and my heart was still racing the whole trip. But it always was worth making the drive somewhere there.
Yeah, you definitely. I feel like you appeared pretty confident.
Yeah.
As the driving progressed, I feel like you definitely appeared more confident. So I felt.
Yeah, I got used to the tiny car.
I feel more comfortable too. Is that you appeared confident? So I was like, all right, he's got this.
Yeah, I think by the end I definitely understood it, and then if we go back, I think I'll be fine driving in Costa Rica again.
What was your favorite part of the honeymoon?
God, getting drunk at 5 a.m. now. Probably, I have some of the best photographs I've ever took from that trip, and most of it was from the rainforest. I would say probably exploring the rainforest, and the quadding was probably my favorite part because the quadding was really cool. I mean, yeah, they were a little strict on how, you know, buck wild we could get on the quad, but it was a cool little tour, and if you let the person ahead of you go a little bit, you can let it rip a little bit, which was cool.
Yeah, I'm like sitting here right now looking at one of the photos that you took from our honeymoon
they're all,
in the office. They're like
two of our favorite trips from Costa Rica and Acadia. I have a bunch of prints in my office of, and like we said, we'll share some on our social media, so make sure you follow us over there, and we'll share some pictures throughout the week.
Yeah, I think that kind of like...
Yeah, that sums up our honeymoon.
It up.
This is not going to be the last episode that we talk about us, but, you know, the podcast will start to open up a little bit more now. Like, it's winding down. We're coming up to Christmas. We got our tree up. We got our decorations up inside. We're going to get the outdoor ones up. I think next week we'll talk a little bit about Christmas and some of the traditions that we've created, and you know, how to make Christmas special in your home as well, and as it should be.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking about that.
So we both would just like to thank you so much for listening, and if you could, leave us a review on wherever you're listening by either just tapping on the stars or leaving us a written review if possible. Also follow us on Instagram and Twitter for weekly questions and content you won't see or hear on this podcast. So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye.